Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner Classics as Non-Classics. This is episode number 1204 and Doubleshot number 1098. Two more episodes to the 1100 Doubleshot. Got two Marvel trades, both of them are the finale for two writers' runs. First up it is Howard the Duck, Volume 2, Good Night and Good Duck. This collects Howard the Duck, Volume 6, issues 7 through 11. Written by Chip Zdarsky, artwork by Kevin McGuire. I think there's a few artists on here. Kevin McGuire just draws issue 7. 8 through 11 is done by Joe Cornish. Yep. The cover art here. They don't say it here for some reason. Oh, the cover is done by Joe Cornish. Yeah, this is the end of Howard the Duck by Chip Zdarsky. Now, believe it or not, this book ended the same month as Darth Vader Volume 1. Yeah, the same month. Now, when this series ended, it was one of those times Marvel did say, yeah, this is just going to be the last one. Because a lot of the time when Marvel, the past several years, whenever they end a comic, it just abruptly ends. Or you have to guess by the particular cover. Because a lot of the time, Marvel has got this really big problem, though they've kind of fixed that a bit, where a lot of the time the readers don't know a series just ends. This book has, well, it does do a couple things. Well, first we have a Savage Land issue, where you have characters of Savage Land, obviously. It's just basically Howard's fun vacation to Savage Land with some of the heroes. Issue 8 is simply put a sort of an epilogue for Bev. Yeah. The old supporting character from the original Howard the Duck comic book, who was a supporting character for years, who, according to him, had pretty much abandoned him. Well, the last time she appeared in a comic book, I think, was in a cameo in the pages of She-Hulk. Yes, during Dan Slott's run. But in the case of Beverly, she says she's becoming a vet. And apparently, she's always been able to become a veterinarian for some reason, despite the fact she was a model. Oh yeah, and also, they also had a flashback to old Howard Duck villain, Dr. Bong. Yes, no joke about this guy. Oh boy, Dr. Bong. Like, this is him. He's an old Howard the Duck villain. He had this thing where he really wanted to marry Bev for some reason. I don't know why. Apparently he developed a thing for her. Somehow she did. Howard himself never really did that. He did apologize to her, and the whole point of this shoot was just to write her off, do her own thing, and she's in Maine, despite that he was living in Cleveland. He is currently living in New York. And then as soon as he gets back to the office, he gets appearance by Leah Thompson. Yes, the star of the Howard the Duck movie from the 80s. They also mentioned about the fact she was in, well, Back to the Future movies I've never heard of before, but this was so interesting. Now, I first heard about this guest star appearance via Facebook. Yes, because I'm Facebook friends with Chip Zdarsky. And what the, like, when I heard about this, I'm like, how the heck did he manage to get Leah Thompson to make a guest star appearance in Howard the Duck? And this I thought was really funny. The fact that, oh my gosh. Because her last name is Thompson, he threw in a retcon that Flash Thompson is her nephew. Oh my gosh, wow. Who knew they have a real life actress? Yeah, this one is real. I've seen her in movies. My mother sees some like old Hallmark movie she does now, where she's a spy, all being a spy and mother at the same time. But yeah, she was actually in the original Howard. I own the Howard Duck movie. It's one of my it's guilty pleasure of mine. This is why I got so much bad it is. But it's a fun movie to watch. It's one of the movies people can think of when we think of Leah Thompson, all Back to the Future, obviously. But yeah, basically they promoted this issue by having her pose in the picture with Chip Zdarsky, who were holding the comic book that she was going to appear in. Yeah, she only guest stars for about 2 issues. She pops up at the end of issue 8, and then she's there for the entirety of issue 9. Yep, and it turns out that the reason why she hires Howard because she keeps disappearing. And the person who's doing this is Mojo. Yep, frickin' Mojo. Oh my gosh, frickin' Mojo. And yes, we have sort of looks like it's Spiral, but nope, that's not. Well, they have a male version of Spiral. Yeah, the 6-armed woman who at one point, Longshot had a relationship with, though he did briefly marry Dazzler. Yeah, that's a weird thing when it comes to Mojo. Mojo is a creation of Ann Nocenti. Ann Nocenti, for a lot of comic fans, is a writer that gets mixed reception because some of the stuff she writes is really, really bad. She's created some good stuff, some bad stuff. She created Longshot, Mojo, Spiral, the Multi-Universe. Let's see. She also created Joker's daughter. Yep. She also created the son of Black Bolt and Medusa. Yep. And this apparently is the reason why. And then, of course, by the end of the series, Howard gets the whole thing of the whole thing of him being the host for Next Reality gets removed from his body. And it was a great ending of the series, though. I kind of felt as though this series should not have ended when it did. Because this was a great comic book. Why would they end this great book? I give this book roughly a 9.5 out of 10. Final thoughts on this really, really good series. Yeah, Zdarsky himself, yeah, here's all 3 trades. He did an absolute fantastic job with the series. Though, I think the one thing what might turn people off in the series was the stupid relaunch after only 5 issues. Yes, apparently Marvel had to do this. Yeah, this book ended about 4 years ago. And there has not been a Howard Duck book published since then. Yeah, it's been 4 years. And this series, in my opinion, is good. I love it. And I will eventually get back to do more Howard when I get hands on more Howard Duck trades. But yeah, this is the Chip Zdarsky run. It's a pretty quick run. It's only about 16 issues. But I do recommend people are fans of Howard Duck. And plus, one thing that was really cool about this series was that Spider-Man appeared in most of the entire series. Yeah, though his last appearance was in issue 7 of the second volume of Chip Zdarsky's run. He appeared all 5 issues of the first volume. Second volume, he appeared for a handful of issues, but the only reason why he appeared in the book, probably because Zdarsky remembered that in the very first Howard Duck comic book released back in the late 70s, Spider-Man guest star appearance. Yeah, I just wrote the fact they're in the same universe. And I love the fact that they made May Parker a recurring character in this book. Because there's a very good reason for that. And the reason is pure and simple. Slott apparently had no plans to use her in his comic book. Yes, because this came out during a period of time when Dan Slott was still writing Amazing Spider-Man. Despite the fact almost every reader wanted him to leave. Because a lot of people thought that he was running out of ideas. Yes, the thing with Amazing Spider-Man was, his first arc was good for the most part, but then Mr. Negative came in. It's the book was up and down after Secret Wars. When he finally left, I think a lot of people were so happy he finally left. And we got something fresh under Nick Spencer, which he's done a great job since then. And I can't wait to review the newest trades that have been released for it. Yeah, but Howard himself, since this book has ended, has only popped up in one comic book. I actually think he popped up, just one. And that was another book by Chip Zdarsky, Star-Lord. Yes, he popped up in Star-Lord for the opening issue. But as far as I can tell, that's the most recent appearance of Howard. As in the case of his old partner, Tara, who doesn't appear in the last few issues of the series for some reason. Yes, she herself has completely disappeared from Marvel Comics as a whole. Because I don't know if Marvel even cares to use her anymore. I don't know why, but that's the way it is. In the case of the whole thing of Flash Thompson, where he was, there's a reason why he was basically not around. He was off in space doing Guardians of the Galaxy stuff, and he was also having his own solo book, Venom Space Knight, which was an absolute fantastic comic book. Great supporting cast with it. That had to end after 15 issues, and they had to lose the symbiote and get replaced with Lee Pierce, which I'll discuss that when he hands in his stupid run. Alright, next up is another finale. This is Defenders Volume 2, Kingpin of New York. Kingpins of New York. This collects the last 5 issues of Defenders Volume 5, issues 6 through 10. Written by Brian Michael Bendis, artwork by Dave Marquez. Though we have with issue 8, he does it with Michael Von Oming. The cover is by Dave Marquez and Joseph Pooster, who is the colorist on the book. Now, this book is the end of Brian Michael Bendis' run. This book, I kind of felt as though that when they ended this book, I'm like, really? Yeah, this is another one of those books that Marvel, like, as far as I could tell when they end this book, I'll get more of that. Probably just to spy him. But in the case of this, what's the story in here? Well, they do kind of wrap up the whole thing with Willis Stryker, a.k.a. Diamondback, where the Defenders beat the crap out of him. Also, Daredevil is no longer wearing his costume he wore in the previous volume. He's now basically wearing the current costume he was wearing during Show's run. And he gets arrested, though he somehow gets released, despite the fact he's an escaped criminal, and his sleazy lawyer got him off, despite the fact that he actually has, despite the fact Matt Murdock had tons of evidence to support the fact this guy should be in jail. Apparently he can't. And also we have a guest appearance by frickin' Deadpool. Yes, Deadpool. And, well, eventually, of course, he is taken out by the end of the run, though he had help from a group of villains, basically Titania, the Fixer, and Moonstone pop in the book, though Moonstone's back in her classic Thunderbolts look for some reason. Yes. And in the case of Wilson Fisk, he's in the book, but he doesn't really... He's more of a background character. He's more like a background shadow influence in this run. And I like the fact that Bendis brought back the Hood. His last appearance, believe it or not, was in an issue of Avengers Academy. Yep. Because here's the thing. Between this and the end of Siege, he made 2 appearances. First, he made an appearance in the second arc for Avengers, Volume 4 by Bendis. His only appearance he made after that was pop out for an issue of Avengers Academy, and that was it. This was his first appearance in about 5 years. Yep. And he was trying to reestablish his power, but the book ends with him being captured by a bunch of superheroes. Mainly the people who take him down are these following characters. We have Deadpool, Miles Morales Spider-Man, Storm, Doctor Strange, Ronin, don't know which one, Spider-Man, Cable, Iron Fist, Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, Daredevil, Night Nurse, Valkyrie, Misty Knight, Colleen Wing, Howard the Duck. Yes, Howard the Duck. I forgot he was here. Yes, Howard the Duck, Black Panther, Blade, the Grey Gargoyle, Katie Bishop Hawkeye, Echo, yes, and yes, these characters up in here just to help out Defenders. And it's the people who help them out are Spider-Woman, just Jessica Drew. The White Tiger, I think this is the one who pops up in the Al Ewing, the second White Tiger, the one who's the younger sister of the original one. Elektra in her Netflix attire, which she also wore this in her own miniseries she got. We also have Echo, Black Cat, Misty Knight, of course, and Colleen Wing. Yeah, this is an overall really good, fun book, and I give this book roughly a 9.5 out of 10. Final thoughts on this particular book. Bendis himself did an absolute fantastic job with this book. It's by far the only group. It's by far the last group series because he did Avengers, he did New Avengers, Avengers Assemble, Uncanny X-Men, All New X-Men, Guardians. This was his last group book he did. This overall was a fun book, and the only reason why they put out this book, was to promote the Daredevil Netflix series. But the problem with this series I have a problem with is, well, how should I put this? What's my major problem with this particular run? Well, they don't really solve the problem. Like, if you read the trades and if you have read the original issues, they don't answer the obvious question. How the heck did this man survive from falling from a skylight? Yes, this man fell 10 stories through a skylight of a warehouse, and they say, oh, he faked his death. Okay? How? And how the heck does he look different from his last appearance? Because here's the thing. When he last showed up in the comic books, he looked completely different. He had this big black suit with these spikes on him. Yes, that was Willis Stryker for you, a.k.a. frickin' Diamondback. I'll take a look at it in a minute. Let's see here. Like, if you're curious, though, what the guy looked like in his original appearance, this is what the guy looked like in his debut appearance back when he showed up at last appearance prior to this book in Luke Cage Here for Hire #2. This is what the man looked like. Like, they don't really explain of how the heck he survived. Yeah, this is something that I kind of felt as though that Bendis really missed out on, was not bothering to tell anybody of how the heck this man managed to survive. Because, well, they say, oh yeah, he faked his death. How? Like, also apparently he's got the same power as Luke Cage. When the heck did that happen? It almost feels as though Bendis was playing more of this book, but I do have a theory of why this book ended. I highly doubt it was due to low sales. That was probably not the reason why. I think Marvel ended this book just to spite Bendis, because he jumped ship to DC. Well, his contract had ended with Marvel. He had been there for almost 20 years. He probably wanted to try something new. And Marvel probably felt upset the fact he was leaving Marvel. So, this is one of 4 books he was working on, because he's working on this book, Jessica Jones, Iron Man, and the Miles Morales Spider-Man. All, 3 of the 4 books ended as soon as he left, though Miles was later relaunched the following year as simply Miles Morales Spider-Man. Though they kind of retconned his original backstory for some reason, I don't know why. But in the case of this group itself, well, Daredevil himself still continues to appear in Marvel Comics this very day with an ongoing series. Luke Cage, who did have an ongoing series published at this point, well, with Marvel Legacy, after they wrapped up that story arc, series ended due to low sales. Iron Fist managed to continue for a brief period of time with Marvel Legacy before it ended due to Doctor Strange's animation, possibly due to low sales. This book, I don't think it was canceled low sales, because I think this is probably, in my opinion, probably one of Marvel's best-selling books, because Bendis has this thing where whenever he writes a book for Marvel, it's usually one of the Marvel's highest-selling books, because Bendis has got a long-time fan base, probably since he started Marvel back in 2000. Yes. And Bendis himself, as far as I can tell, has never had a book that I can tell that was actually canceled due to low sales. I mean, I can't think of any. Nothing I can think of, no. Usually when the book ends, usually because he wants it to end. Though I've heard a few people say that one thing people have a problem with him at Marvel is that apparently an editor couldn't tell him no for some reason. And people tend to think that he was Marvel's Jeff Johns. Probably because, well, for one thing, because the way they do stuff is very similar. But the thing is, Bendis does use the retcon card at times. He only used it a little bit more in the last 2 years than he did when during his first decade at Marvel. He very rarely used the retcon tool. Usually it's something that he would retcon to, but not something else's work. That's not something normally he did, from what I can tell. But he did do it for Civil War 2, when he had to retcon the whole thing with the Hulk, which, that was dumb. I'm sure Greg Pak himself basically easily pointed out, though, yeah, your retcon's stupid, but you have to live with it. But if you're curious though about this book, one thing interesting though about this book is this is probably by far one of the few books written by Bendis where there's no deaths. Well, they do kind of kill off Hammerhead, but it comes back. But if you think about it, in all 10 issues, there's nobody who actually dies and stays dead. Like, Hammerhead was dead for like barely an issue before he got brought back by the Hood. Which, that was great, the fact he did that. Because I'm sure Bendis probably got tired of people accusing him of just randomly killing off characters for a lot of time for no explained reason. So, there's that. But not much else to say about the Defenders by Michael Bendis. Well, not that. That's not it. That's Arrow the Duck. Not much to say about this book. It's really, really good. And I do highly recommend it. People are fans of not only Bendis, but also people are fans of Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, Daredevil, even Iron Fist. Or any other character in this book because you are fans of. But it's an absolutely fantastic book that surprisingly, since this book ended, Defenders have made 2 appearances since then. They popped up for a story arc for Doctor Strange during Secret Empire, which came out at the same time as this. And the last appearance to date, and I kid you not, was the miniseries The Man Without Fear, which came right after Charles Shaw wrapped up his run. That was the last appearance of the Defenders. The Punisher appearing in the book, that was interesting. Because he probably felt he needed to put him in there because Punisher's a popular character. Bendis has some experience writing the Punisher, so at least you know Punisher be freaking awesome. Yeah, there's that. So yeah, that's it for this particular review. I have roughly about one more video I'm going to do today. That'd be Naruto. I'm almost done with the Sasuke Retrieval arc. I've got about 8 episodes left, so I should get done pretty soon. Probably in the next few hours, okay? So yeah, see you next video. Bye.